if depending on how the other board members feel, I would want to include some kind of condition of approval here, just to say that the owner will work with the city to properly place bike racks in front according to the requirements of the city.
Okay, make sure you mention that at motion time, Max. I'm sorry, Mr. Dean, go ahead.
No, I was saying that we purchased the bike racks.
Thank you. Okay, Carol, Myrna, questions for the respondent?
I don't have questions. I have some comments when we start elaborating.
Okay. Myrna, do you have any questions for the respondent?
No.
Is there anybody else on this meeting that would like to talk to Mr. Dean?
Yes, I'm a resident that got a public notice of the meeting.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm looking for some more information about the intended use of this. Is it alcohol? Is it tobacco? What is the point of the store?
Can you state your name for the record, please?
Sure. My name is Kirsten Abrahamson.
Kirsten?
Yes.
And can you spell that?
Kirsten.
Okay, thank you.
And your address, ma'am?
1723 Dempster.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Mr. Dean, would you like to answer a question?
Yeah, could she repeat it, please?
I'm trying to understand a little bit more on the intended use of the store. All we got on the notice was that it was for a zoning for potentially for tobacco and beverages, but is there an intention also for alcohol, or what are the other intentions of the store?
The only intentions that we have is, so it's basically like a small corner store. So like no alcohol beverages at all. We just really going with the tobacco because people smoke. So it's like a lot of people I know smoke, you know, so we're not going like we're not like with no smoke shop things. More like, you know, like if you go into a small convenience store, you know.
So it's just cigarettes?
Yeah, that'll be like the only thing that we would be selling that, you get what I'm saying, to you, anybody would have to be worried about. No alcohol.
Okay, how many people will work there?
So far, me, my brother, and my daughter.
3 people. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
What about customer parking?
I'm sorry, do you have another question, ma'am?
Yeah, we were curious about customer parking because it's already a huge issue with traffic over here.
Okay, I don't know if you was able to look at the sketch or anything that's going on. We'll be parking on the Darrow side of the building right there. It's public parking, so like if we got customers that's pulling up or whatsoever, they're able to park right there to pull in and pull out. So like what we have going on is nothing big, so it's like a walk in, walk out. So like even with that being said, we hope to see you too, if given the opportunity.
Okay. Other questions, ma'am?
I guess my concern is we already have huge issues with traffic and parking around here. We have huge issues with debris and garbage that happens around here.
Okay.
And there's a food truck that's been parking around here all summer long and using it as a space for cooking, which is not, from what I've read, in accordance with the food truck operation. We just had an accident a few days ago right at that corner because of the traffic.
Okay.
And there was another one over at Burger King. So I'm very concerned about making this more congested than it already is over here, because a lot of the issues with the congestion are not being addressed.
Okay. Well, with me being a business owner, I'm very familiar with things clean. So like as far as with what we have going on, I'm a type of person where if I come outside and see garbage, I get to picking it up anyway. You know, that's just something that I do to being a business owner. You know what I'm saying? I don't like my space to look nasty, and I don't like spaces next to me to look nasty. So like that'll be like, and like anybody that's there working for us, it'll be part of the job description to keep the area nice and clean. You know, with helping out, I make sure that I talk to my staff to make sure that they help out. Then how long you lived on Dempster?
14 years.
Yeah, so you've been over there 14 years. You know, it's always been congested.
It's not as bad since the Starbucks came in.
It's
That has been way
2021.
worse. Yeah.
2021. So it's like, I mean, I think the congestion pretty much come with the neighborhood and with that being a busy, because Dodge and Dempster is kind of like a busy block. You know, we're not, you know, we're trying to just, we there for the neighborhood. Like I say, you might not want, you're able to walk out your door and get something that you might need.
And what about parking for your customers? I mean, I understand that.
Sir,
Okay,
sir,
wait a
you
minute.
need to say your
Could
name.
Could you say your name and address?
Oh, sorry, my name is William Eskridge. I also live at 1723 Dempster Street.
Okay.
So he said here.
Okay, so I'm just trying to also understand, I mean, it's on the Darrow side. Are there going to be assurances as to the best you can to keep people from parking in front and then running in to grab a pack of smokes and a candy bar?
Yeah, with
And
you
chit chatting and stuff like that, you know, it's.
yeah, with you bringing that to light, that I'm glad that you did say that, because that way I can make sure that I take note of that, and if I see that, I make sure that I stop that myself and explain that to my staff as well. So that was a good question. I like that, and I make sure that I stand on that on my end.
Okay. All right.
So what I actually do with that as well, because that was a nice one. What I will do with that, I'll make sure that I get a little sign made, basically telling people, you know, we can't really allow that right now. I put that on the window so that way they kind of got a notice of it instead of me, you know, trying to, hey, you can't park right there. Because you know yourself, which as long as y'all been living over there, people pull up in there and pretty much do what they want to do. So it's like I can't like make somebody, but I make sure that I put a note of that on our business to say, hey, we don't really allow this. Please go park around. You know, I make sure that it's nice. You know what I'm saying? I don't really have the right words right now, but I'll figure it out by then.
Well, is it possible to request some of those parking spaces on Darrow then have like a restricted time limit on there so that it doesn't become one, it could be for your customers potentially, like if it's a 15-minute zone or.
Ms. Abrahamson, this case did come through the Design and Project Review Committee. They did discuss the customer parking in particular with Mr. Dean. And we primarily were, as staff, were concerned mostly about his employees having dedicated spaces. And the owner of the property to the west has indicated that he can have his employees will have parking. And it seems that there's the customer parking on the west side of Darrow Avenue that his customers may be parking in regard to putting any limitations on the parking stalls on Dempster or Darrow. I can certainly bring that to the attention of the parking manager, but when staff reviewed this on October 6th, that was not mentioned. The Zoning Board of Appeals can ask us to look a little bit more into that if you'd like. But I guess just know that the staff member responsible for kind of allocating the public parking stalls on the street, he did not feel the need to recommend that as a condition.
Okay.
Sorry, I had to turn the lights back on. Okay, any other questions for Mr. Dean? Anybody else in the audience? Anybody else on the board have questions for Mr. Dean?
I kind of have just a general question to pose for maybe response from Katie or something just for the board to ponder. But the only part of the application that really gave me pause was the prepared food component, which is still, I think, hypothetical. Because what I always think when I think of prepared kind of takeaway food like that is the garbage. Similar to Max's point, do we have scope for requiring, you know, an exterior garbage can that would be similar to the style that we use, you know, in this area? How much leeway do we have to make a recommendation like that?
What would be the recommendation, Jill?
That we have that there's an exterior garbage can required that fits in design with the neighborhood.
Members Orden, are you asking for that out in front of his location, or do you mean, okay. I can certainly ask that. I know that that's something that, you know, is a streetscape component.
Right.
I can ask Public Works about that. I'm not sure what their schedule is for picking up, like when they come through and empty the public garbage cans. Are you wanting one specific for this business, just having that out front? Because that's kind of, I guess it gets a little tricky when it's a public trash can is his business and one that he's responsible for emptying.
I suppose I'm looking for guidance on what our options are with regards to that. I mean, we can understand what the end game is, and I don't really have a strong, need to put this on the applicant or put this on the city. Just so long as the trash doesn't become an issue.
If given the garbage can, I wouldn't, if the city do put one over there, I wouldn't have a problem with like emptying the trash. Like, I don't, that's work to me.
Mm-hmm.
So like if I seen the trash empty or anything, if y'all, I would like that as well, because I think it'd be a great thing as far as we're keeping the area clean. So that way we know it's a trash can. It's kind of easy access to pick something up and put it right there versus picking stuff up and going all the way around. So if y'all can make that possible, I think that would be a great fit as well.
Thank you. Any other questions for this respondent? Before I close the record so we can deliberate. Okay, if not, I'm going to close the record and our board will talk about this now. Okay, what are your thoughts on this project, board? Yes, Carol.
So I don't mind the project. I have comments about the traffic over there. I'm very often on this intersection, and there are a couple of reasons that we have to be careful with that. First, the right turn from Dodge to Dempster, plus the coming traffic from west, is usually a kind of a squeezed exactly in this part of Dempster, because there are always parked vehicles in front of this portion of the street, and there is always a kind of a dangerous merging of traffic right at this place. So my comment is not pointed towards the applicant, but personally, I would prefer that the city bans parking or even stopping in front of this portion of the street. I mean, between Dodge and Darrow, because it's not only the vehicles, but because of the shops that are over there, there are pedestrians that cross not always at the designated places. And this creates a kind of a chaotic situation and a risky situation, I would say, at this portion of the street. So I'm just a kind of a pointing and want to express concern and point this to the city so that there are some certain measures that could be taken. One of this is, once again, no stopping, and then shop owners or tenants putting some signs that there's parking on Darrow. And as somebody said before, the parking on Darrow in immediately adjacent to this shop should be with parking limit. So this is something that I am commenting, and I would like to be addressed mainly by the city, not by the applicant. I don't oppose the project.
Can we get a no parking sign out in front of this business, Katie?
I can mention that to the parking manager.
Okay. You're muted. You're muted. You're muted. We can't hear you. Okay.
Hi, I'm sorry.
Hi.
I can certainly mention that to the parking manager. However, I also, parking's always a hot button issue when you begin to take away parking, as is traffic, which is a conflicting interest. So I can certainly mention that, but I'm not sure if there's another commission that perhaps reviews parking and street availability as well. So I can ask my colleagues about that and pose the question. I don't think it's as simple though as putting it out, like putting no parking out, but we can look into it.
Maybe we can put it in the conditions and it will spur them when we send this forward. Maybe we could do that.
Okay.
Okay, other ideas from the board?
I'm actually in favor of the project. Anything that we can have a busy storefront versus just an empty storefront. I think that's a good choice. And also, this is a very walkable area. So if somebody has to run and get something, just a household item, they don't actually have to go all the way out to Valley. If they're right there.
Thank you, Myrna. Other board members? Jill, Max?
I'll go. Similar to Myrna, I'm in favor of this. I think it's a complementary use to the neighborhood. I just took the opportunity to look at the Google Street Map of this with the lens of my previous comment about the trash cans, and I see there's one on the corner at Darrow with recycling, and then it looks like another one just adjacent. Just another one adjacent. So I'm content to look at that as a nice to have as opposed to a request or a requirement. But in general, I'm in favor of this.
Thank you. Max?
Hi there. Yeah, I'm in favor of the project as well. I agree with the concern about parking on Dempster. I don't know if Carol pointed this out explicitly, but that is a spot where like 2 lanes of traffic come down to 1. It is kind of like a pinch point and just kind of probably a higher stressor for people trying to park and not park. So I think having some signage to reduce parking would probably be pretty smart. And I'd support that. I also still would like to include some kind of requirement for the leasee to work with the city for the proper placement of a bike rack. I think that's a good idea. And then the third thing is that there were some recommendations from Dapper, I believe, about percentages of tobacco sales and percentages of tobacco, I guess, display of product within the store. We didn't really touch on that yet. My initial thought is I can understand the reasoning for reducing the display percentage so that the store doesn't transition into a pseudo smoke shop. However, I don't really understand a limitation we could put on what actually gets sold, because I don't think the leasee controls like what gets sold or what happens to sell. Those are my thoughts.
Thank you, Max. I am going to make a special condensation and open this back up to Mr. Dean to talk about it, because you're right. It was a point that we did not speak about. And we can't have this turn into a smoke shop. That's a whole different thing. If it's more than 50% of the sales, it will be a smoke shop. I'm sorry, but somebody in here keeps turning the lights off on me. All right, anyway. So Mr. Dean, would you please speak to the tobacco issue?
Yeah, as far as with the tobacco issue, everything that you guys are speaking upon, I'm like 10 steps ahead of that. I'm not looking to do a smoke shop. That's not my intentions. So I've kind of felt that, kind of just being upfront with you guys, I kind of felt it like, hey, maybe they think I'm not trying to do a smoke shop. If I was trying to do a smoke shop, I would have made sure that that was the proper things that I would have put in and put on the inside. So I'm not looking for tobacco to be 50% of my sales. I'm coming to the neighborhood trying to do business, try to help the neighborhood. Like if you look me up at D's Elite Boot Camp, you'll see like over 100 or some reviews of the type of guy that I am. So I'm like I say, I'm trying to help, The community can use that over there. I'm a person that can touch the community. A lot of people in that community over there, I have touched that community over there. So like as far as with smoking, Katie, me and her kind of been in correspondence. So like I'm familiar with everything with what I can and what I can't do. but having a smoke shop is not my intention. You know, a lot of people, like I say, a lot of people smoke. If you go into Babylon, if you go into certain stores, they have a smoking session. So if you look at my paperwork, you'll see where we have a small smoking session. So we're not looking to have a whole bunch of smoke. We're not even gonna have a whole bunch of smoke stuff in there. We're gonna have the regular average stuff that people come and get.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Dean. I'm gonna also give you my recommendation for a business to be here. This storefront has been empty for a while. Before, it was a community-based business. I think it was a flower shop or something like that. It's been a very long time. And I agree that there needs to be a business in there and for it not to have a vacant store space like everybody else has said. Any other comments for Mr. Dean before we ask for the motion? Okay, would somebody like to make the motion? Any board member with the conditions? Hi, Max, you have the conditions? Joe?
Yeah, I have a packet open for me.
Okay. Okay, so
I'll
before
do-
we move on to the motions, I'm just gonna read the special use standards so that we can completely finish. The special use standards for the ZBA to recommend that the city council grant a special use. The ZBA must find that the proposed special use, I'm gonna stop after every standard. One, is one of the listed special uses for the zoning district within the property lines. Standard has been met according to staff. Convenience store is a listed eligible special use within the B1 business district. Number two, complies with the purposes and policies of the general comprehensive plan and the zoning ordinance. Staff considers this standard to be met. The use is compliant with the general zoning ordinance and the comprehensive general plan. The proposed use promotes the growth and development of a business and commercial area and strengthens Evanston's economic base. Number three, does not cause a negative cumulative effect in combination with existing special uses or as a category of land use. This standard has been met. The proposed use has a limited potential to negatively interfere with any proximate residential or commercial uses. Number four, does not interfere with or diminish the value of the property in the neighborhood. This standard has been met according to staff. The proposed use would occupy a currently vacant storefront and is non-objectional to the surrounding commercial uses. Staff has not received any public comment opposing the proposed use. Number five, is adequately served by public facilities and services. Staff considers this standard to be met. The building is served by adequate sidewalks, streets, trash collection, on-street parking, and is in close proximity to CTA bus service. Number six, does not cause undue traffic congestion. Staff considers this standard to be met. The location is well suited to customers by access to foot or bike, and customer parking is available on the street and within the block. Number seven, preserves significant historical and architectural resources. This is not applicable. Number eight, preserves significant natural and environmental resources. This is not applicable. And number nine, complies with all other applicable regulations. Staff considers this standard to be met. The proposal complies with all other applicable regulations. Maybe now we're ready for that motion.
All right, I'll give this a shot. I move that we recommend to City Council that they approve this special use permit for, in the case of 1806 Dempster Street, 21 ZMJV-0065, with three conditions. The first being that the applicant installs a bike rack in the front in consultation with the city for proper placement. Two, that the city does a review of ways to reduce or discourage parking out front on Dempster Street. And then 3, that I'll say that the sale of tobacco products must be less than 50% of the total sales revenue.
Okay, Max, is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Katie, call the roll. I can't hear you. You're on mute.
Was
Katie,
that member Miranchev that seconded?
Yes,
Okay. All right. Chair Cullen,
approve.
member Miranchev,
Yes.
member Deacon is absent, member Pucktall,
Approve.
member Zordan,
Approve.
member Aravallo.
Approve.
Okay, motion carries.
Thank you. Mr. Dean, you can
Yes.
see Katie for your next steps, and you have been approved. We're looking forward to your business.
I want to tell all of you guys, thank you. God bless y'all. Hope y'all have a beautiful evening. And thank y'all. I guarantee y'all it's gonna be a good thing.
Thank you, Mr. Dean.
All right, God bless you.
Do we have any other business to discuss? Any other new business? Discussion?
We do not at this time. There's a couple cases that might be coming up in November. The public hearing notice deadline is approaching, so I will be confirming if the November meeting will be held on the 16th or not in the next few days.
Oh, okay. Then we will, somebody can make a motion for adjournment, and then we'll wait to hear when is the next meeting.
It is November 16th.
That is when it's gonna be.
Yes.
Okay, great.
The third Tuesday, 7 o'clock. And did anyone want to move it up a little bit in time, or is 7 okay for everyone still? Just because it's remote, I know commutes are, depending on your field, are irrelevant. The 7 okay
Anybody?
good for everyone?
I like 7.
That's fine.
It's good for me, yeah.
Okay.
I'm used to
Okay.
7.
I wanted to pose the question.
Katie, one thing, I didn't get the package from you.
Oh.
I had to ask Violetta to actually send it to me.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm gonna make, I apologize. Thank you, Chair Colin, for doing that.
Yeah,
I
Not a
will
problem.
make sure I get that to you next time.
Okay, thanks.
Mhm.
Okay.
I make a
Anything
motion-
anybody else wants to discuss?
No, I make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Myrna.
A second.
Thank you. I don't think we need a roll call for that, you guys. Okay, stay well till next time. See you in November.
Great, bye.
All right, bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.